Thanks so much for tuning into Waz Up San Diego. Today I had the pleasure of speaking with Ali Archer, the founder of Go Seek Explore, and we're going to talk a lot about some different spots in San Diego and some media branding tips. Thanks so much for tuning into Waz Up San Diego. I'm your host, Luke Wazaloo, and today I am joined by Ali Archer.
Hello.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Thanks, I'm excited to be here.
So one of the most intriguing things about you is your travel blog.
Yeah.
It is absolutely spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called Go Seek Explore, so it's kind of a funky name because sometimes people think it's Go See Explore, like which one is it? So yeah, I've been blogging for about 5.5 years now. I've used that as like a really strong platform, not just for my own programs and my own things that I'm doing and my personal brand, but also to promote my work doing marketing as a freelancer. So
absolutely. And one of your
basic
specialties
overview.
is kind of being able to work remotely. So when you are traveling the world and seeing all these spectacular places, you're still able to work, make money, and do what you love.
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to work remotely was so that I could work and travel. Basically, my website, everything that I teach through it is helping people create a work and travel lifestyle.
Love
It's
it.
basically creating a lifestyle that supports traveling if traveling is a passion of yours, and how can you blend that into your life, whether it's working abroad for like a different company. I've done many different travel companies I've worked with from all over the world to Europe, Asia, US, and then how you can also transition that to creating some sort of online business for yourself that supports you and is flexible enough that you're
Absolutely.
able to sustain that while you're traveling. Again, if that's something you want to do.
So what are some tips for somebody who wants to kind of build in that flexibility into that schedule so that they're not tied to that, 9 to 5, I have to be in this desk and I'm only being paid when I am in this seat?
I think one of the best things is just to get started and get started early. So if you have that itch, if you're at that travel bug and you're like, you know what, this job's okay, but I'm on Instagram and I see people at some waterfall that everyone's taking pictures at and I want to be there, and that sounds anywhere but here sounds good. If that's like kind of how you're feeling, then I would start as early as you can on some sort of side hustle and figure out some sort of online skill that you can use to get paid for. And one of the biggest things that I recommend to people that want to create an online business, because there's so many ways you can go about it, it's kind of overwhelming if you go online and read 125 online business ideas.
Find something you're passionate about.
Yeah, find something you're passionate about, and then find something that doesn't necessarily require you to have physical inventory. Because that will free up your location so that you can work and travel without having to make sure they're not shipping things. That's one of the biggest things. It seems really obvious, but you might talk to some people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run my big Etsy business and travel, and that's great, but then they're also trying to fulfill orders.
But I ran out of this product and I have a shipment due at a certain day and time, and it's more difficult.
Exactly. Yeah, so finding some sort of skill, if what I do is freelancing, so I do social media marketing and other types of marketing for businesses, all completely online. It doesn't require any upfront investment of me on products or anything. It doesn't require me to ship anything. I can do it from a laptop, from Wi-Fi, as long as I keep up with it.
Just leveraging your skills, essentially.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, so you help companies brand themselves and kind of manage their social media presence then? In general. So what are some tips for some companies?
So I would say just focus on whatever platforms are best for your business.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest thing for companies that are trying to do online marketing, or even people that are personal brands, influencers, thought leaders, anyone that's promoting themselves or a product or service just wants to know what their client or target audience,
Absolutely.
where they are at, who they are, and then choose the platforms and the context that's going to be best suitable for them. So one of the things I do, especially when I'm working with small businesses, maybe they've never hired someone before, they're just new to social media, I always start with the basics, which is email marketing. It's huge. for everyone. I don't think it's going anywhere. And then I also just pick at least one other platform that I think is going to be the most beneficial. Because you don't, even if you're doing it yourself or if you hire someone out to do it for you, you don't necessarily have to, be on everything at once. Just start.
It's hard for people to do everything at once too. It's how do I manage Facebook? How do I manage Instagram? How do I manage Twitter? How do I manage LinkedIn? So kind of I would say that business to business is more that LinkedIn profile versus I think Facebook is still pretty universal at this point. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. But also like Twitter is more kind of that water cooler, and here it's more difficult to kind of build that following on Twitter, but that's just not something I focus on, that platform particularly either though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just like so many different platforms to use, and if you're running your business, especially if you have a small business or you're building your personal brand, and you hear like, oh, I need to be on Facebook, now I need to be on LinkedIn, now I need to be on this, and then it literally is a full-time job for people to do. It's like you have a business that's already like multiple full-time jobs in one, and then
wearing 20 different hats.
Exactly. So if you can just focus on the top main platforms that are best for you, or outsource it, is probably going to be the best.
So go deep on one or two, and don't try and dabble in everything.
I mean, you can expand. I would say if you're just getting started, to go deep on those one or two, really hone your message, get clear on your foundation, and then when you feel confident and you can manage it and you're like not overwhelmed with it, then expanding out to another platform or two that you think can benefit, I think is one of the best routes. It's the least overwhelming, I feel like, for most people.
It is. Yeah. And then what platform do you think is kind of growing, or what are some of the unknown ones that people should be exploring? Let's just say somebody is outsourcing it and has a good grasp on their brand and everything like that. Is there any other platforms coming out right now that people should be focusing on that have been kind of underrated in the past?
Well, LinkedIn, you just mentioned that. That one's huge right now. It's really growing in terms of people sharing content. It's really like becoming more of a content platform, kind of like how Facebook was a few years ago.
It's more professionals, I feel like, too, as well, but it is. People are posting a lot of things that they did not post. It used to be like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Let me go on LinkedIn and see what's there. Now it's actually great stuff.
Exactly.
They do have some limitations where I know you can only post like 10-minute videos, and the interaction's a little bit different, and it's good to go on somebody else's post and comment and provide value to that. But are there anything else that you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn's great. Even posting content, they have a blog platform where you can put articles. It's a really good way for business owners or people building their brands to like build expertise on there. Podcasts are obviously blowing up right now.
They are.
And any form of video or audio or a mix of that you can promote is really going to help your audience just connect with your brand. And since, like, for example, for this podcast, if we're talking about you, this, people are getting to know you, they're hearing your voice, they're seeing you, and they have that personal connection. Because as we become more increasingly digital and we are making connections in our communities online, we crave that human connection. So any way you can deliver that just increases that trust level. And there's like, I don't even know what studies to quote, but I've just read stats on a bunch of websites that like video and or audio just really increases your sales and all that kind of stuff too. So.
I feel like you really get to know the person who either is hosting that show or hosting that podcast. Because I listen to a ton of podcasts, and I really do feel like I know the person in a way. So if I like saw them on the stream, like, oh, how's such and such doing, and how to go with the last weekend at the show.
And maybe like, who are you?
It's like, who are you? Are you stalking me? I'm like, no, I really dig your stuff. So.
I know. I feel like that too. Like, I have a couple of friends who watch the same people on YouTube or listen to the same podcast, and they're like, did you see Sarah's baby? It's so cute. And they're like, oh my God, I know. And like, did you see her wallpaper? I saw it at Target. It's like, I want to go get that. And it's like, we don't know her. She lives in a different country, and you feel like you're friends.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the goal, is to humanize yourself, I guess, too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you travel a lot. What brought you to San Diego? Because you could have, planted roots anywhere in the world. It sounds like. What in particular drew you to San Diego?
The sun.
Yes.
I feel like what most people say, the sun, the beach, the culture, the energy, the people, all the things there are to do. But the weather is by far number one.
Absolutely.
I grew up in Seattle in the suburbs, which is very nice, but very rainy and cloudy 10 months of the year at least.
So like a day like today is a rarity and an anomaly, and it's been sunny every day.
I know, and I try not to take it for granted now that I've been in San Diego for a few years, but I love it. And even when I'm traveling and I love experiencing new cultures, going to different places, it's so nice to come back to San Diego because it's just such an amazing place to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when did you originally come down here, and what was kind of that context where like, hey, I came and visited San Diego and I'm going to make this place home?
Yeah, so I actually first went to Southern California, I think in middle school. My older brother was touring colleges out in California. He ended up going to college in Orange County. And so we'd go to visit him. And I think that was also the time, don't judge me, when the OC was out. If you remember the TV show The OC.
Oh my gosh.
This is going to sound really ridiculous, but did you ever watch The OC?
I didn't personally watch it that much, but I had like friends and girlfriends who that was a huge show for a very, very long time.
It was a huge show.
Yeah.
It was my favorite show. I was that girl. Anyways, I remember watching that show, and they were in high school, and they'd like walk to lunch and walk around between class, and it was sunny. And I thought that was so cool.
Wow.
And I was like, you can go to class and it's sunny and you can like go to the beach on a Friday night in December. And I was just thinking like, I need to be there. And then when we'd go visit my brother, I was like, I love California. So that was always my goal. And after college, I moved around a bit. I kind of mentioned I was traveling, working for a few different companies abroad, worked in Italy, worked in Europe, China, all that kind of stuff. And then I moved to Arizona and was there for a couple years. It was like a cheaper, sunny place to live. And I worked at a university.
Until summer happens when it's just ridiculously hot. But
that too. I mean, yeah, you get used to it, but I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, again, I've been spoiled here. 120. Oh my! I have a friend who lives in Phoenix right now, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I felt like I was gonna melt last summer."
Yeah. I moved there July 2014, and it was like a rude awakening. I was like, I love the sun, and I'm like,
not this much.
Exactly. So yeah, I moved there. I worked at a university at ASU for a couple years, and I really liked the job. It was an 8-to-5 job, so it was kind of like a shock after traveling for a year, and after it was like my first sit-down office job. But I really enjoyed the work that I was connecting with students. I worked at admissions. I did public speaking. I love to talk. So that was fun. But I did start to feel a little burnt out towards the end of those 2 years. And I had an opportunity to move out to San Diego. My roommate was moving. I was like, I need a roommate because it's expensive to live here. I was
Sign
like,
me up.
I'm coming. So when I decided to move, I ended up getting a couple freelance clients. They kind of just fell into my lap to do social media marketing. And at that time in my life, I had been running my travel website for a couple of years. I had been using various tactics, staying updated on trends to grow my website, grow my social media pages, set up email funnels, like all that marketing stuff. And a couple people that I was talking to just naturally about it were like, you need to do that for me.
Can you help me out? Yeah.
I was like, okay. Like, if you're going to pay me for this, this is cool. And so when I moved, I was at the place where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for a couple people. I didn't know if I was going to get another job, but I literally was so burnt out at that point that I just couldn't bring myself to apply for jobs at that point. And so I booked a trip to Southeast Asia. It was 5 months out. I was like, you know what? This whole digital nomad thing sounds really cool. Let me just freelance for a little bit, go to Asia, work online while I'm traveling. And if I get back, I can decide, if I don't like it, I can get a job again. Or if I am doing well, then I can have the choice.
Keep doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. And so when I was there, I ended up getting a few more clients, and I was definitely undercharging my first year because I was a hot mess. I didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, things have changed. But I realized I was able to support myself. And when you work for yourself, you don't really have a cap on how much you can make. You're really in control. So it can be a good thing or a bad thing. But I just was really optimistic and just trusted myself to continue doing it. And just, have the flexibility to travel was great. So yeah, that's kind of that whole transition. it worked out pretty well. And here we are.
And there you go. So what are some of your favorite spots in San Diego now that you've been here for a little while?
I love Little Italy because the food's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
One of my favorite, definitely top 3 spots in San Diego. Food-wise, Italian and Mexican food are my kind of go-to.
Me too.
As you can see, I got taco socks.
There we go.
I do love tacos.
I love tacos too. Yeah, Mexican and Italian are like my 2 favorite cuisines. San Diego definitely has that down.
Yes. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
As far as Little Italy, I feel like you can't go wrong. There's one that I'm forgetting the name of. Maybe you remember it. I'm not vegan, but they have an entire vegan menu. And it's like, I think it's Civico 1875.
I will
Don't hate
look
me
it up.
if you're watching this. Anyways, it's really good. They have like fried zucchini, I think. Anyways, I'm probably messing that up. All their food's good, so highly recommend that. I also really like Coronado. It's really pretty. I love Encinitas. It's super fun vibe and good restaurants. I feel like you can't really go wrong.
Coronado is so interesting because it's just like its own little. It really is its own little peninsula, but it's just like an island of San Diego, just kind of segregated, and it's really like going back in a time machine in a way. I feel like over there, it's just so peaceful, and I love it.
Yeah, I feel like you go across the bridge and then you're just like isolated from
different world,
everything, and you just permission to relax and just have a good day.
Yeah, some of the views from the beaches over there, kind of looking onto the gas lamp area, the skyline, it's pretty spectacular. So.
Yeah. Do you like beach yoga?
I have never done beach yoga. I have done yoga. I only do it online.
You're from San Diego and you've never done beach yoga.
I feel like men in general aren't big yoga people.
I know. I shouldn't be too surprised.
Actually, one of me and my buddies who's also like 6'3", so it's like us 2 giant dudes going to this yoga class.
Like,
and
Warrior 2.
Can't touch my toes, like stumbling all around. It was fun and it feels amazing. I will go do a yoga class like next week because I could use it. Everybody does. So are you a big yoga person?
I don't know if I'm like a big yoga person. I like yoga. I'm not super advanced in yoga.
Gotcha.
But
beach yoga
I've gotten
is
more
amazing.
Flexible. Yeah, beach yoga or the outdoor yogas on the weekend that overlook the ocean. It's like when I'm doing that on the weekends, it's like this is peaceful, so amazing, and it's also that like gratitude of where we live. Of just like being surrounded by other like-minded, healthy people, looking over the ocean, and it's just blue sky. It's just amazing. So
I used to live down in Crown Point, and we'd go down to the bay over there, and people would always be there on the weekends. I'm like, oh, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
But then I got my kids running behind me with bikes screaming. I'm like, I'm sorry, they're super noisy, but
it's okay. That's what it's for when you're outside. Just have fun and bonfire. Have a little fun.
So grateful to have Ali Archer on the show. Today we talked a lot about social media branding. If you have any questions or would like to reach out to Ali, check out goseekexplore.com or @Ali Archer. If you have any questions or recommendations for guests that you would like to see on the show, feel free to email me at wazupsandiego@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.